good morning, and good morning. Yes, it's 9:02. I'm good for 2 minutes. I don't know why, but for some reason it gets down to that last two, and I try to get all of the news in. So I got all my news in, and then I realized I said, "Oh my goodness, I better hurry up." Here we go, 9:02. I think Channel 3 News has me obligated to think I need to listen to the weather too, as if it's going to have something to do with what I'm doing now. But anyway, good morning. How was your weekend? What did you do this weekend? Did you have some fun? Did you rest? Did you explore? What did you do? For me, I hung out with my daughter a bit. I Friday I painted at the Ronald McDonald House in the afternoon, and then I went to a uh, I guess it was called the Equity Project on Friday night out in Gulf Breeze, and that was really interesting. And then I went to church yesterday morning. I packed a lot into my weekend, a great deal. But this morning, I just had awakened to realizing that October is Domestic Violence Month. And having been a counselor for years, I know that there are many people that have gone through life and have experienced violence in their relationship, where they're abused, both emotionally, psychologically, physically, emotionally. They're abused, and this abuse is something that they carry with them, and they're almost um, learned to be the victim, um, and but still staying with the person who's doing the victimizing. So it's just it's a cycle. It really is a cycle. Violence is a cycle. People think that they're gonna, if they stay, they can straighten people out, that they will love them, that they will, I'm not gonna do it again. All those kinds of things. Good morning, Debbie. How are you doing, sweetie? But a lot of times our word today is going to be violent. And I know that if you've lived long enough, you've either known someone or suspected someone has gone through a period of having a violent relationship that they've been involved in. And it's embarrassing. Most of the time when I was a counselor, they didn't want to discuss it. But sometimes it was actually forced into discussion, meaning either you do this or we're going to have to let you go from this job, or it's been reported through the school system or something. There was some way to gather attention that they actually had to pay attention to what was going on. It's hard. It's hard for people to admit that things aren't right, because we all want things to be right. So anyway, I have some statistics this morning, and this is national awareness. Good morning, Maurice. How are you doing, my friend? Um, where it's National Awareness Week of a month of domestic violence, this whole month of October. And I said, I know I'm going to do something later on in the week on breast cancer, but I wanted to make sure that I also paid attention to doing this as well. But here's some statistics. Let's dig in. It says the most current, and I got these statistics from the Florida Department of Children and Family, and also let's see, I got it from two places, and also the national. I don't think I wrote it down, but anyway, it's a national board of domestic violence that I got off the internet. So here's some facts. It says the most current national studies on domestic violence suggest that 22 to 25% of all women will experience domestic violence at some point during their lives. At some point, that's pretty high statistics. Pretty high. You know, that's a quarter of 100% of all women. It's just high. It says the other facts about violence is that Domestic violence is a pattern of abusive behaviors used by one individual that has the intent or willingness to exert power and control over another individual in a context of an intimate or family relationship. I've talked with people where, as counselees, where if once the wife found a place outside the home, say the children got older, and she was able to find a job outside the home and really liked it and was doing really well in it, well, then it became one of sabotage or one of, arguments. Where are you going? How come you're staying that long? Who are you with? And those kinds. It starts off sometimes emotionally, and then it moves into other areas, that it can become physical, and in some instances become, a way for people to end up in the hospital or in the morgue. So this is something that, if it's never addressed, then it becomes a possibility of, death, for somebody. And men go through this too. I think it's 1 out of 3 men and 1 out of 3 women in relationships will also have an experience domestic violence. So sometimes people cannot control their behaviors, and it's all based on them needing to be ahead of somebody else, controlling somebody else. And it says these patterns of domestic violence involve more than or even several isolated incidents of violence. It says it involves an integrated pattern that includes a wide variety of abusive behaviors, usually increasing in frequency and intensity over time. Frequency, intensity. So it may start out where, hey, didn't mean to, slap you. Didn't mean to black your eye. I will never do it again. Those are the kind of things that I've spoken with women who I used to run a women's group while I was abroad, but they were American women. And these are some of the things that they would talk about. They would talk about these things. It says the cycle of violence can happen many times in abusive relationship. Each stage lasts a different amount of time, and with the relationship, with the total cycle taking from a few hours to a year or more to complete. Emotional abuse is present in all 3 stages. So emotional abuse, you can't even get through the emotional abuse, because what happens is that you're almost traumatized. And so you recall what happened to you. You recall it. And then it's like a child that's been told that the stove is hot. Once they touch the stove and they know the stove is hot, they're not going to touch the stove anymore. And that's us. We start as women or men in those kind of relationships. We're not going to do what they don't want us to do. And so we streamline our ability to move within our own fluidity. We can't. We're restricted. It says abusive behaviors or cohesive behaviors may include, but are not limited to, physical assaults, verbal assaults, threats, intimidation, use of weapons, isolation, destruction of property. I've seen people and gone into homes where the walls were punched in by the same individual. Now you think, if the wall wasn't the wall, but you were the wall. Horrible. It says this happens towards significant people or pets. And it also says it could be sexual manipulation and control over economic resources, meaning you have no money or you don't know how you're going to pay for things. Everything's been restricted to the person in control, having control over everything, including, it might be even when people eat and how much they can eat and who eats first. Those are types of abusive behaviors. It says the intent, the pattern of behaviors is not a matter of coincidence or result of time-limited crisis. Rather, is ongoing pattern in the relationship whereby the abuser acts to control over the other person. So control is the issue. Control. It's always, as a counselor, we're always taught that when you have abusive relationships, control is the issue. I must control this individual, where they go, what they do, all that. Me too. It gets my blood boiling. I have a girlfriend that used to say boiling. She didn't say boiling. She said, I gets my blood boiling. But true. Great information. Thank you so much, Sherry. Good morning, sweetie. Great seeing you Friday night. Remember, we got to get together. So when we move into the word, and I wanted just to give us like a pre some pre statistics before we talk about the fact that this is domestic violence month, and that we at times become vulnerable because we trust others with our lives, and they misuse us and misuse, our bodies and our physical ability to fight back, or even our emotional ability, our psychological ability. Sometimes we are just beat down. We are beat down by what we've experienced. So violent. I didn't want to go into adding too much to the word. I just said, let's take it down to the word that happens, violent. Good morning, Geraldine Sapp. How are you? Amen. So glad you are sharing that. Thank you so much. Thank you for dropping in this morning. Please come again. Bring others. Okay. So when we look at the word violent, it says using or involving physical force intended to hurt, to damage, or to kill someone or something. Because sometimes they can kill your dreams, but then they can also physically kill you. They can kill the ideas that we have, where we can go, what we can do, trapped. I always think of somebody, how could somebody want to trap someone else? They do. And we break the word down, it talks about it being brutal, vicious, harsh, savage, rough, aggressive, terrorizing. Can you imagine being in a house where you're terrorized? Vicious. That's it right there. Debbie always gets my first word. Debbie is always on it. But vicious, I do have vicious down. It says threatening, fierce, out of control, forceful, lethal, and deadly. I mean, the thought of being in a relationship that may kill me is something that's hard to fathom. But I know women have been in that for years. Men have even been in it where it says, if you leave me, I will. It's just frightening. That would be absolutely frightening, terrorizing to me. So when we break the word down, and I ask you, have you ever been there? Were you ever stuck? This is my show is, are you stuck? Have you ever been stuck in a relationship and you got out, and that you're able to see clearer, feel better, be more courageous in your own self, and that the perpetrator, the contributor, or the controller is gone. That's what you want. That's exactly what you want. Vindictive. That's good too. That's good too. That's a good word. Vindictive and vicious. Well, I have vicious, and it says deliberately cruel or violent. Okay, a lot of times when you talk to, and I've had it where I've had men were abusive, and the woman in my sessions, and they couldn't, the man in some of the sessions could never see themselves as being violent. Says, no, I just have to tell everybody what to do. I liked order. Well, order does not have to be controlling. Order just means a series of things that maybe has to happen, which are reasonable to everybody. Everyone is served well, but not that they mean that everyone else is isolated as to their going, they're coming, they're eating, they're sleeping, they're working. But that's how some people are, that have gone into that role of really needing to be an abuser, or wanting to be, or sometimes they may not even want to be, but they know no other way to be. Let's be honest. There's some people like that. But viciousness talks about it being deliberately cruel or violent, and it being brutal, savage, dangerous, remorseless, ruthless, heartless, merciless, cruel, harsh, callous. When I think of these words, they resonate in me, to think that just puts fear in me that somebody would do that to another person. But I know it does happen. It also talks a bit by it being barbaric, in some cases homicidal, in some cases murderous. And you can go online and look, or even watch some of the shows that are investigative shows, and they will tell you what people went through before they died. And that at some point in time, violence and violent behavior was going on. It was going on. When we move further on in our word, and the I of for violent for me is inhumane. I always think of inhumane just being horrible treatment. Lack of human qualities is what it says. That's the real definition of it. It says where there is no compassion or mercy, it's cruel and it is barbaric. It said it basically is diabolical, merciless, evil, remorseless, cold-blooded, and callous. These are harsh words I'm talking, but this area is really serious. And if you don't do anything else, I know that there's an 800 number. If you're ever in that situation, or you think someone might be, call it in. Call the 800 number, whatever that number is, and let them. And I said I meant to do that, but I apologize that I didn't do that this morning, of having the 800 number, and I might look it up on my phone before we get up out of here. My O for and my word of violent talks about being totally out of control, no longer possible to manage being, where they should be in terms of respecting other people, not feeling that they're obligated to telling people what to do, where to do it, how to do it, and certainly not minimizing them physically, of them able to even move, those kinds of things. Oppressive. Ooh, that's a good word. Oppressive is a great word. Basically, keeping people down. That's a great word. Thank you, Debbie. Out of control, meaning uncontrollable, unmanageable, wild. It says unruly, turbulent. How many of you have seen people? If you've ever seen somebody, or of someone that's been in a relationship that has been violent, just put a yes in there. Put a yes in there, because I know I have. So I have several yeses. I have several yeses of people I know. It also talks about it being disorderly, defiant. Like when you meet personalities that have defiant personalities, that they are probably out of control, not just here, but other places, at their homes, at their office, making waves, recalcitrant, non-compliant. All of that says, I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't care about you. Yes, just horrible. Absolutely. It is so horrible. It really is. When we move further on in the word, I have basically thought about my L being lethal. When you see some of the shows that they have that are investigative stories, you wonder why some people may snap. You wonder, they snap back. They weren't originally, that wasn't their personality, but they actually had to retaliate in order to say, you can't do this to me anymore. No more black eyes, no more broken bones. I at one time lived in New York near someone who was being beaten up on a regular basis by her husband, and she would run to my house, and I would say, you got to get out of this. I said, well, I'll just call the cops. No, you can't. He'll kill me. So I know firsthand that people feel threatened just by the thought. Their fear lives in them, that if I tell somebody else, it's not going to be good. And every time he would see me, he would always give me dirty looks, always. Meaning, okay, you better keep your mouth shut. Well, I didn't. I called it in as an anonymous, one time, because he had actually thrown her on a table and she was all cut up. Well, when she went to the hospital, I gave the officers some information that once they went to the hospital, they could tie the two together. Sometimes we just have to step out of our being afraid for ourselves and helping others get to the point where they're not afraid and fearful of themselves or for themselves. Just get tired. A method of saving a life, your own. Absolutely. Your own, saving your own life. Absolutely. So I moved to lethal for my area because it says sufficient to cause death. To me, if somebody beats you enough, if somebody's blackening your eyes or bruising your body, to me, as I used to talk to my doctor friends in the hospital, say, yeah, free radicals, that's running through the body. If you keep putting yourself in positions to be beat up, the body can only take so much. The skin can handle only so much. It is the exterior of our internal organs holding us together. But we have to take on, how do I protect everything inside and still protect my outside? How do I do it? Sometimes it's just talking, speaking up, letting somebody else help. And what did you write, Debbie? Loose cannon. Absolutely. There are people that are loose cannons. That's really good. Lethal says sufficient to cause death, which could be fatal, deadly, murderous, toxic in terms of the relationship, harmful, malignant, and disastrous. Because to me, if you're living in those situations and there's children, the children is also living in that situation, seeing it, watching the deterioration of a woman or a man or the entire family. It goes on, and then what do they take with them in their thoughts as they grow into adults? That it's okay. It's never okay. It is never okay. My E, as I move on in my word, is for endanger. How many of us have been placed or seen people that were in danger? Putting someone or something at risk is what endanger is. Yes, 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 as they become the same. Yes, they absolutely. Because a lot of times they say that the children of abusers also become abusers when they get older. They said a lot of times it could be with the sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. If they've seen it and it's been like the story and the vision that they see often, then it becomes a part of what they actually portray later on in their lives. Well, she should be controlled and he should be told what to do and when he can do it and bringing the money home, all those kinds of things, all those things, edgy, okay, emotional, excessive, yes, all of those things, everything. I have endangered, and endangered says basically jeopardizing, you know, things for people, putting them at risk, making sure that they're always vulnerable, putting someone's life on the line, threatened, and basically they're in danger. They're in danger. Sometimes you look at people and you just wonder. You wonder. When I was teaching, every time a child came in and they had something going on that they couldn't explain, and or the explanation wasn't satisfactory to me, I would send them to the nurse and the counselors. And sometimes as a counselor, school counselor, I received students that were abused. So this is not new to me. I just know it exists, and I said, you know what, this is a great time to talk about the fact that some people are out of control in how they live their lives and how they allow others to live with them, live a horrible life. My N in violence is for non-compliant. These folks fail to act in accordance to the wish or the commands, the law, the just to me, just human kindness. That to me just kind of sets its own stake on being good to others. The kindness. They don't know it. It says that they may come out with being belligerent, negative, irregular, rebellious, impatient. Have you ever seen people that were impatient? No. Nuts. Yes, you're so funny. I love it, but true. But so true. Narrow-minded, nasty. Oh man, you make talking about this subject understandable because you make it so plain. Whereas the Merriam-Webster makes it polished and understandable intellectually, but you bring it down to nuts, narrow-minded, and of course nasty. All of those fit everything that you said. But not but being rebellious, divergent, and impatient, those folks too. Like they can't wait 5 minutes on a line because they should be at the front of the line. No, you have to wait your turn. They don't want to. And the last one I have is my T is for threatening. How many of you seen people look like they're being threatening? Sometimes it's just a look. Now I can tell you now, my mother really wasn't abusive. Yes, she beat us. If I just stay today's standards, we would occasionally get a strap. But I never did much to let my mother have to do that to me. But here's the thing. My mother got it down to a science where all she had to do was look at you, and that was it. That shut it down for us acting up, especially in church or wherever we were we were going, threatening, trigger happy. Oh my goodness, Debbie, you are funny this morning, but true. All those words are true. It says threatening, it says having a hostile or deliberately frightening quality or manner. Have you seen people like that? you know, where, they just look like they're Scorpio, an Elliot Ness, somebody that's going to take you out just because you looked wrong or you came out in an outfit that they said you couldn't wear, or you're hanging out with people that they don't like, or you stayed out 5 minutes late, or whatever. There's something there that makes it where they're going to get you. It says, bet, boy, the coffee worked for me today. Whoop, whoop, it did. I haven't had my coffee yet, so you're helping me along. So having threatening behavior, it says, is basically, it's a frightening quality for people. If you really notice people that are threatening, it's in their demeanor. It might be in their walk, their talk. It might be in their look. Sometimes you see people and they give you a look like, I could hurt you. You don't want to look back, so that one look was enough. But it says hostile and deliberately frightening. It says it's a bullying type of behavior. Basically, it's terrifying for some people, alarming, scary, menacing, fearsome, mean looking. There it is. It says it's frightening and it's intimidating, and I think of so many people who I've helped or wasn't in a position to help, that have been in situations where they're afraid of who they're with. They're afraid of them. If they say it's time to go, it's time to go. If they say they can't wear that dress, they can't wear that dress. They say that I don't want you losing any more weight. And I did have a friend like that her husband didn't want her to be that attractive. And so he basically told her, don't lose any more weight. This is it. And she was still overweight. But some people, that's their idea of control. Domestic violence is a controlling issue. It is how I will keep everything that I feel belongs to me within my sight, my purview in terms of proximity, everything. I will keep it under control, under my thumb, under my will, my wishes, my idea for this individual. Well, I can't imagine living that life. Not long, absolutely not. I just can't imagine. I won't say that if I ever experienced it, that I'd know what to do immediately. I'd probably be in shock. Okay. But after the shock is over, I'm up out of there. You can have everything. you could have it. I'm gone. I don't want that kind of life for myself, and I never would want that kind of life for my child. It says all the crap of my ex put me through. I left before I got trigger happy. Okay, that was funny, funny but not funny because it also has a message in there that I will snap. And I think just realizing the importance of maybe helping somebody that can't help themselves. There's probably so many women or men in situations that they don't know how to get out of them. They don't know because it started with love and it moved over to the other person telling them how they were going to live their lives. But it started with love. And so, when people love you, they tolerate a lot of stuff. And so it's hard for them to turn and walk away. It's hard. But if you see something, call it in. Say, I think this person's going through some domestic abuse, especially if there's children involved. Sometimes the children might be the way for the access is with the children. It says women need to learn they're somebody and learn to love themselves. Absolutely, Debbie. That's a wonderful statement. We do. We need to love ourselves. Before we have love from everyone else, we need to know that we love who we are. But if people have whittled away at our confidence, whittled away at our, support system, and whittled us away to where we are just living in fear, then that becomes the real issue with domestic violence. It really does. But anyway, while we're talking, I'm going to look up and see what the domestic violence phone number is, and I'm going to give it to you. Let's see. Hold on 1 minute. Let's see. I think it's an 800 number, good, but it might be. And they got a hotline too. So it's 800-799-7233. That's 800-799-7233. And they also have it where you can even text something into them. Like if the person can't call, they can text. It says they can send a SIM text, an SMS to 88788. 88788. So this was a good topic for me today. I just really felt I woke up with it. I go to bed with one thing. I had something else I was doing last night and I woke up. Thank you, Debbie. You are so cool. Now you want the text number again? Let me give you the text number again because I thought that was cool. 88788. Put that one in there for me too. 88788. So people, if they see this later on and they know somebody, they might be able to, text it to them or, tell them I know something's happening to this individual. They're located here and here and go from there. But anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. And I did a long word today. I usually do 4 letters. Today it was just so juicy. I said, well, I can't let it go that I would not do it justice. So I'm hoping that I did it justice for you all. I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful day. It says, my secretarial skills, I must still have them. You do, girl. You are bad. You're awesome. She used to be the secretary, actually, for the big boss. But occasionally we could get her to do something for us. We were the people in the middle. We weren't down. We weren't the stirrage, but we were close to it. Great. It's a great topic, Sandy. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Pass this on. If you don't do anything else, this is really an important vlog to send to others. Send it out to your membership and your friends on Facebook or Instagram, wherever it is, and let them see that there is. I also have a YouTube. It goes to my YouTube channel as a live. Send it out there. Just let them know that there is someone out here who cares and is trying to do my very best on getting us to stay up on taking better care of who we are so we are not stuck. Okay. Love you, love you, love you. Hit share. Bye-bye. I'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you. Love you too. 988 for okay, 988. There's another one. 988 for suicide and crisis lifeline. Thank you. Thank you, Gloria. I love you guys. Y'all Hang on in there with me. Appreciate it. See you soon. Ciao, bye. It says end live stream, and it says no, not yet. Every once in a while, it just